Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
Hello everyone. My name is Lloyd Coward. I am a male entering his twilight years. My formative years were spent in a neighborhood in Chicago that was highly diverse. Across the street from me, I had a friend. His name was Felipe Cruz, but he called himself Philip Cruz. His sister's name was Louisa, and she called herself Louise. There was a young lady on the corner of Swiss descent. Her house was right by the vacant lot, the big vacant lot, and her name was Muriel. And there were some rich people on the block. They had a house that was at the corner, at the other corner across the street. It was about an eighth of an acre, huge land, all the way from the street to the alley, and a very long house. They were very giving people, very generous to the young people in the neighborhood. And I lived in the middle of the neighborhood, next door to the policy wheel.
What was your neighborhood called?
The neighborhood was called and still is Woodline. Where I was located was 6340 South Vernon. And as I was saying, we were living right next door. The houses were duplexes with each structure having two sides and a walk-up, a common walk-up with 2 stories. And next door to us was the policy man. The policy man was like the Bolito, like the Lotto man, and he was one of my father's best friends. His wife, Mr. Ramsey's wife, was a Haitian lady who had a garden which was about 6 foot by 6 foot with every imaginable kind of flower, exotic flower, crawling over a 6-foot fence. Very nice lady also. We stayed there for many years. I had the fortune of being sent to Catholic schools simply because my mother told my brother and I that we had to know what the Irish people knew, and that was going to be our means to success. So I entered Catholic school early. Very traumatic kindergarten experience. But I did quite well as a student. In fact, I did so well through the 8th grade that the Sisters of the Blessed Virgin Mary gave me a scholarship to one of the best boys' school in the city of Chicago. It's called Mount Carmel. And I went on to do well there, although I managed to get in a little trouble here and there, as young man will, simply because I grew up in a part of town that was known for that mix. In my neighborhood there was a street corner which was approximately 6 blocks from my house. It was called Sin Corner. There were many forms of illicit enterprise going on, like dope dealing, prostitution, and anything that was imaginable. So I learned young. So after that, after high school, I went to the University of Illinois, Champaign-Urbana. I couldn't find any comfort zone there. So I I was kind of alone and isolated, away from my girlfriends. I returned to my neighborhood and for several years went to all the city colleges in Chicago, chasing young women.
What were the names of the colleges then?
Oh, there was Teachers College, the Chicago Teachers College. It was on 69th and Stewart. And it turned into the Chicago State University.
Okay.
And I went to Wilson Junior College, which later turned into Kennedy King. I went to, I think I went maybe a day at Wright College. I went to Luke Junior College and I stayed there a little while. I then went to Southern Illinois University.
In between then you went to Vietnam, right?
Yeah, no, in between then. But okay. I went there because the military police were after me.
Oh.
Yes, I was there at Southern Illinois University and the military police showed up. So I got in my car and I headed straight to Chicago. And as I came off of the Stevenson at Outer Drive, because my mother was living in South Shore, I witnessed McCormick Place burning to the ground. And I thought it was because some revolutionaries had set it on fire. But then I came home. I was drafted into the Army. They told me to come down. I finally came back and was discharged from the Army, honorably. Then I had to come home after I got a degree and basically conform. Do you have any more questions there?
What neighborhood do you live in now?
Oh, right now I live in Chatham. It's a neighborhood on the south side of Chicago that for many years had been the desirable neighborhood for people who were aspiring to be middle class. And
when did you move there?
Well, I really moved there just shortly before, after I came from Carbondale, and I had a child in tow, a little girl, and I worked and tried to enjoy the fruits of my labor. I was doing work with people, so I really enjoyed it.
And your work took you all over the city?
Yes, it really did. It was, I was in administration for the Head Start grant from Department of Health and Human Services. I met people, I met, of course I met a lot of dignitaries, but I think one of the people I really enjoyed talking to was Sergeant Shriver, who would call me on the phone. I met him at a hotel. It was involved with social service, but he would call me on the phone on announcements, ask me how things were going, how the Head Start program was running in Chicago, and of course I went on to do some other things because
within that same department.
Yeah, because you know, it's not that you tire of things, you just want a varied experience. I worked in emergency services, you know, coming to the assistance of people in crisis who needed immediate kinds of services, like referral, or they needed housing, and some of the people were homeless, some of them were just in psychological crisis, and it was a part of, it was an arm of the Chicago Police Department. So I found myself in a lot of police stations, and it was very interesting work. you know, I did find out a lot about disparities. I was always happy to get home.
From the time you started working until you retired?
Hmm. I had 31 years.
It's a long time to get to know the city.
Yeah.